Today I'm going to tell you about the importance of video games in our society. Video games have been around since the 1950s, and ever since then they came out with so many systems and so many games. From handheld video poker games, to Xbox 360s, to PlayStations, to Wii's, to handheld systems such as the Game Boys. And every generation they're coming out with more and more video games. It's very hard to find somebody that does not have at least one video game in their home. Video games offer many important benefits. They teach us how to accomplish goals, create characters, team up with friends, deal with money, deal with social situations, endure harsh livings and environments, and they also help us get along with others. The three ways I'm going to explain the importance of video games. The first is they're deeply rooted in our society. The second is that video games, if anything, help somebody be less violent. And last, they also teach children and adults many invaluable skills. First, as I was saying, did you know the first video game ever was called, here's the quote, the first video game ever was Tennis for Two, introduced on October 18th, 1958, using an oscilloscope screen, end quotes, source Gettler. The earliest video game ever sold to the public would be the Atari Pong. Now, video games can range from many different genres, from simply playing poker on a handheld system, to fantasy adventures on an Xbox 360, to sports, racing, fighting, many different things, hunting. These all are different genres that games have came into. Now, here's another statistic. Quote, 75% of American households head of households play computer and video games. End quote, Gettler. Now moving on to my next source. Video games are usually awfully accused of making more violence among teens, when actually studies can show that if anything, ever since video games have came out, that teenage crimes have actually dropped. Listen to your teachers, the news, or even a disgruntled parent, and most of the time they're going to blame teenage outrage on video games. Although numerous studies prove that if there is no correlation, there is an exact inverted correlation that video games, if anything, cause more peaceful teenagers. Here's a study. As you can see, all the way until the PlayStation came out, and as soon as the PlayStation came out, these crimes dropped massively. And this source came from the Department of Statistics. A perfect example of a video game that has a lot of adult content would be Grand Theft Auto. Now, Grand Theft Auto is a mature game. You have to be 17 or older to buy it, and everything on it, a 12-year-old should not play. It's rated M because you have to be 17 to buy it and all the things that it has. However, even though it's the highest selling adult game, mature game, when it was made in 2004, 50% of the games, all the games made, were made for E for everyone. Well, 1/3 was made T for teen, and a mere 10% was M for mature. And that's what Grand Theft Auto was. Now, there are a lot of more things that you can learn and gain from video games. My third topic is you can learn important skills. There are so many skills that kids and adults can learn while playing video games. Now, the first one can be concentrating. Video games are able to hook a kid into a story and make them focus on that game. Here's a quote. Kids diagnosed with ADHD can't pay attention real long, but will play games for 9 straight hours on a computer, G says. The game focuses attention in a way that school doesn't. End quotes, source Son. As he said, schools have a hard time to get kids to be interactive and to actually concentrate because it doesn't interest them as much. Now, another skill that can be learned is screen reading. Now, many games use text between characters and conversations, or tips, or signs to show the player what to do. And the kids will want to learn to read these signs so they can figure the game out. And when they figure the game out, they get more points, bosses, they unlock new levels, and that entices them to want to learn how to read those signs. Here's a quote. Because kids are interested in the game, they often end up reading at a level well above their grade, even if they say they don't like to read. End quote, source Son. Also, another skill that you can learn is to explore interests. Children learn this because video games show you a lot more than what you see on your average day. Musical games like Rock Band can play well-known songs, popular songs, catchy songs, and kids will want to play those songs, so that convinces them to pick up controller guitar. That controller guitar could convince them to pick up maybe a real guitar or a real drum set. In that way that they're actually stepping out of their comfort zone and looking for interest somewhere else. Also, sports games do the very same. Football games, tennis games, basketball games, racing games, these all show you their specific sport, how to play it and how it's done, and this can help a child explore their interests. Another skill will be decision making. Every single game has decisions you have to make. Either you have to beat a timeline, you have to have so many lives, you have to save so many people, you have to win a race in first. These all have decision making. And decision making can get deep enough to where even the player can decide what they want to do, have multiple options, and be who they want to be in the video game. Here's another quote. The game offers you a palette of choices, G says. Players must confront moral dilemmas, develop social relationships, and solve challenging problems that might apply to real life, he says. How compelling would a game be if you only had good choices? End quote, source Sun. Going in with that, teamwork is also a very essential skill that children as well as adults can learn. Video games are a great way for children as well as adults to interact and connect interests. They have so many systems that allow more than two people to sit down and play the same game and work together. Technology has got so far that we can even use the internet and play across the world. The last important skill is interaction. Interaction is the biggest feature in every single game. The child, the person, interacts with the game. They're driving the cars. They're throwing the ball. They're fighting their way past enemies. They're interacting with the game. Here's a quote. The captivating power of video games might lie in the interactive nature. Players just don't sit and watch. They get to participate in action and solve problems. Some games will even allow players to make changes to the games, allowing new possibilities. End quote, source Sun. Video games are very important, as you can see, for these three reasons: that they are endowed and basically ditched into our society. Two, that if anything, they cause people to be more relaxed and less aggressive. And last but not least, they teach a lot of valuable skills, such as teamwork, concentrating, and decision making.